understanding the price action, and you find those primary entries in which you're looking for.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys, everybody, tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. I'll see everybody at the big desk shortly.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back, I should say, everybody. Well, we're back, but you guys didn't go anywhere. Shout out to an awesome midday show. The market is like, it's brushing off this JPM move in the middle of the day. So, yeah, a few headlines with JPM, and the market's not caring. What's hilarious about this, and it's not hilarious, it stinks, is we were literally this morning talking about XLF potentially breaking out, and how, oh, this could be it. The XLF could finally be going, and we're gonna break some highs, and thank you very much, JP Morgan, saying, what was it? It said the consumer is becoming more discerning and the environment is more fragile. So yeah, some negative outlook specifically with them, and I'm kind of, it is what it is. We just happened to be talking about, Sean and I were talking about the XLF this morning, like completely out of context. Like no idea this was gonna happen, like this was allegedly breaking out, and potentially going to make a new 52-week high on the ETF, the financials ETF, and unfortunately that's not the case. What did happen and what has been strong though, and continues to be relatively so, is crypto. So I've been able to bounce, crazy move here, probably the biggest moves in a kind of a slow sliding upward move in the markets, where like silver had a big move, obviously Bitcoin had a bit of a move here, got to like 94K, pulling back. I was trying this one to the short side, and I was like, why short this when Mars all the way down here? Like Mars was just weaker. So if I think the top had been made, like I went away from Bitcoin to short the thing that said VWAP and it's a little bit weaker. But yeah, like crazy move there in JPM. I don't know how much it got talked about during the midday, but there could provide some opportunities because that's a pretty quality stock to be down 4% right now.
Yeah, I love JP Morgan. I'm trying to get into the chat over here. I actually don't even have it open. Oh, there it is. Okay, hey, what's up, everybody? Yeah, we are live and ready to go. Back in short the futures again, right? So we're just doing the same stuff. We did get taken out. So, you know, as we left you guys earlier, it does fall back in. We get taken out right there on the break of the high. And we're back in right now. I've been hitting these for a little bit. So, yeah, I know I should try FSD very, very soon. I promise I will. But TQ car just charged up. I've just put it in there. It's great. Doors. Yeah, it's great to come. Yeah, it's great to come in and just get your car charged at work. Like it's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's snowing outside. Nice snow right now outside. So shout out to everybody who enjoys a good light dusting there today.
Is the camera tilted? Like, why does it seem like I'm like? It's not level, but maybe
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not really. Maybe I sit up a little bit better. Google curling down. Yeah, the future's also coming back in just a little bit. We're pretty short right now and flat, unfortunately, right now on the futures there. Take profit, get stopped out. Now we wait to see if we can make a move down here on the TQQs. I heard a throw to Adara quickly.
Keep an eye on Moderna and Pfizer, both of these stocks dropping. I'm seeing reports suggesting that the FDA is probing alleged deaths tied to COVID shots. That probe is going to include adults. Apparently, the FDA also saying that the COVID vaccine safety probe covers multiple age groups. So again, maybe looks like a wider than expected probe here into alleged deaths related to COVID-19 vaccinations. PFE and MRNA dropping on this as we send you back to Sean and Neil.
Well, the algos wasted no time with the bid on that. You got to be kidding me. Like, look at this. Oh, I hate to be anybody that punched short. Like, yeah, that's pretty much. I
mean, bad story, but.
Oh, that's rough. That's, yeah. This is why sometimes, you know, you almost have to let the next candle decide what you want to do with some of those news stories, because like Pfizer legitimately did tank a little bit on that. It looks like a couple percentage points to the downside, and now it's higher than it was before. So yeah, that's gonna kind of stink. Yeah, not a good story, but sometimes it doesn't matter, man.
Yeah.
Like the stock has been making a bottom forever, for a very, very long time. Hey, Randy got the coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Action. The Winter Cup.
Oh, you got the Winter Cup? Oh, yeah.
The Winter Cup.
Exactly. Me and Randy exchange coffees all the time. So what's up, Randy? Shout out to there. He's building more desks over here. So.
Well, it's like one big. I can say that. It's like one big desk around. So we can turn around and be at it's like we get 2 desks basically.
Yeah.
Turn around and be at a second desk where we can face Adara. Also, of course, Brendan and Sharif in the mornings, we're able to have a conversation.
Thank you. All right, so yeah, just looking there. It's funny that this JP Morgan, I mean, it's getting lower into $300 right there, so we'll have to watch out there as they were on their some sort of a conference today or some thing, their global outlook not great here for JP Morgan. I actually looked it up there on Benzinga and didn't find a story about it, but maybe Adara, when she comes back there, will be able to have that story for us. Tesla on the run-up, man. Yeah, it's right back to 450. I mean, I called 480 at the end of this week. I don't know if that's going to happen anymore. We did have a dip down yesterday right there. 465 maybe incoming. That is for sure. Right there, 460 the high. That high right there, 475. Of course, 480 would be in and around all-time high. So you're now just moments away, basically, from an all-time high here on Tesla. I mean, a good story tomorrow, and this thing up another $10 and you're almost there. So we'll see what happens. I mean, this could even break through 450 into the close here again today. So, you know, respecting so far the 200 period, trying to hold out at 448 goes Tesla. Nothing but love there to the upside. And just some more covers here on the futures back down into the 200 period. Actually, I don't have a bid here. Let me put a bid at 56.03 just to get out of. Let's get out of about 15% of it if we, okay, well, there it goes. We do get some 03s there, or 04s maybe, right there as we take that fill and now watch this, hopefully this market come back to the downside there. So that's what we're doing right now with the futures. And then looking at some JP Morgan. DraftKings was moving around a little bit. DKNG was moving around. Then we still have the visualizer as well. There's DraftKings. Yeah, just have to VWAP. I just got a note about it, so VWAP note there. We still have that stock visualizer. So if there's anything popping over on that thing, then we'll definitely come into it. Palantir as well, maybe on the lookout there. 180, 181, okay. Yeah, I just saw someone you mentioned there. Palantir hitting their, see, these are things that are starting to move now. Occidental, Palantir, ARB. There's Oracle flashing on the scanner right now as well. But yeah, nice little quick, aggressive move down there on Palantir. Hey man, we'll take it. We're now short the futures, so we'll go back to that as much as we possibly can and see what we can get going here with the futures and the downside push. I mean, join us tomorrow at this time when we have Fed. So we'll see what this market wants to do at this point. But for right now, I could see it drifting a little lower into the close. It's the market's flat on the day, right? The ES probably a little lower on that JP Morgan and Citibank and all that kind of movement to the downside. But here we go, baby. This is going to be a big move, hopefully, for us. Now, if we can get something right where we just got last time, that's 95. We'll take a bid there and then see what happens with the rest of this trade. But we're short right now, the market. So that's my only position. Intel and Mara, so we're both short.
Yeah, I mean, Intel's been like an all-day thing, but Mara was just now when it broke. It's interesting. I can't remember the last time I saw this kind of a trend break. Like, look at the trend in the morning, and then it breaks out like absolute gangbusters, comes back in, and then starts respecting the morning tight little trend line here. So it's a weird one, but it still ends up working out. Before we go up to the rundown, I doubt this name will be in there. Some people were talking about Webull making a bit of a pullback here. Maybe that comes back to retest the magical $10 level, which, I kid you not, is exactly VWAP right now. $10.01. Webull up 4.5%. So not all things in the financial space are down. Of course, fintech and the crypto type names tend to be a little bit stronger. Let's see what you guys want to talk about in our little rundown, which, by the way, we don't get to cheat today because I look at the desk. I have to cheat the old-fashioned way. I can't look at the desk and see what's at the top of the visualizer. Now I can look up and see for sure. And of course, as always, I just managed to talk about one of them accidentally. Let's go to Sharif.
Welcome, everyone, to the afternoon rundown of the show where you guys decide what we talk about every afternoon. The big boys, they are ready, they're locked, and they're loaded, and they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get the tickers on the afternoon rundown is to join us in the chat and vote every day for whatever ticker your heart so desires. You got to throw in, though, that $sign before you throw in the ticker of your choice. Sean alluding to JPM, so we're going to start with this one before we look at the major averages. Blood in the street here here on JPM, down over 4% after the bank told investors it will spend billions of dollars more in expenses next year at the Goldman Sachs conference in New York. Of course, Chief Operating Officer Marianne Lake told investors the bank had just completed budgeting for next year and is planning to spend $105 billion, largely because of higher costs in her division. So that is the news headline here. Barely holding on to 300 is JPM. Let's start with the NQ. Looking at all four major averages, three are positive, at least for the moment, one negative. The NQ barely positive, up 0.15. The ES literally flat, guys, 0.00, with the Dow trading below yesterday's close, down 0.28%. Leading the way, though, as has been the case for a little while now, is the Russell 2000, up 0.25%, but certainly off the highs there. Let's take a look at the first name as decided by you guys, TSLA. Multiple comments today from Piper Sandler maintaining their overweight price target on Tesla, but it really has to do more with the Tesla semi-truck now, where we heard today that they had tie-ups with both DHL and Uber, guys. So Tesla trading up 2.15.
Okay, before we go to Tesla, I promise we will get to Netflix. I'm pretty sure that's going to be like probably second on the list. But just because it's moving right now, Netflix just a couple of minutes ago really broke out, relatively speaking. Like, it was just chilling here, got all the way down to like 95.5. It just broke through VWAP. I'm scanning, looking, not really seeing anything in particular. What is Warner Brothers doing? WBD. Warner Brothers, yeah, but Warner Brothers has been trending higher the entire time, so it's hard to imagine what could be going on there. Like, I would feel like if Netflix was making, like, if Warner Brothers is going higher because there's potential for a higher bid, I don't think that would cause Netflix to shoot up. And if Netflix was not going to raise its bid, I don't think that would cause Warner Brothers to shoot up. So Netflix looks like it's moving on its own volition potentially. But going over to Tesla, the strongest of the Mag 7 names today. I say that tepidly because, quite frankly, I don't think I looked at all of them. But that being said, up a couple of points here. Whether you want to talk about the cab, certainly that's going to be a big deal. It feels to me technically like you just held the 50 period today, though. Like the 50 period SMA on the daily, 435. They came in this morning saying, oh my goodness, like if you're looking anything bearish, that stock breaks 435. There's a breakdown and you can get into the 20s. Well, you know what? It didn't break 35. So there was no flat bottom break on Tesla. I think it would have been a good technical trade if it happened, but it didn't. And now we're back trying to retest that 450 for a close above. I think that's going to be the good over-under here, because that's where we fell yesterday. We'll kind of get a little gravity towards that. It's early in the week, so I wouldn't be worried necessarily about the wall yet, but that at 450 is going to be key. So another successful defense of the 50-period moving average on the daily for Tesla. So I think that's a good sign. Like, it's making some higher lows at that good support. As long as that holds this week, I mean, Fed's going to be a big deal, obviously. Not much you can do about it if Powell tanks the market. But if it's able to hold the week, I don't see any reason why you're not pressing to at least local highs in here at 470.
Yeah, just look, we put our neck out and called all-time highs a little last week, so I'm pretty happy with obviously the performance of this. And yeah, I think we can get there. So I like Tesla. The only thing is breaking yesterday's open or closing price there, hard to get that first thing today. But I think like that price of 440, that was yesterday's close. We could have probably done something with that. That was around 940 this morning. So, that was probably a good opportunity right into there to catch that bid long. And yeah, just a pullback to VWAP would be nice. I'm short. You guys can see that right now in the market. So I'm pretty much looking for pullbacks here. But this name, would not surprise me if we keep going. So watch out for that 450. We just broke off of that and headed a little bit lower, but then stopped right here at 448. So I think if we are really going to go lower, watch out for this 446 to break, and then we get off of that. So yeah, I don't know if there's going to be a trade on this afternoon, especially because I'm looking short, and this one looks long to me today. So yeah, Tesla, I mean, great stock, great name. The robo-taxi story. Everyone tells me to get into that FSD. I'm sure it's amazing, and maybe I will. So, but right now, Tesla just really working out, man. I mean, there's so many Mag 7 names that are underneath, you know, Meta, Microsoft, even Google's had a rough week and a half or so, or maybe only a week. But some other, you know, Apple's been heading a little lower as well. And for this name to be, you know, a shot away from its all-time highs is pretty impressive. So considering all the hatred that this stock does have to put up with sometimes, not just hatred on the stock, but, you know, there's a lot of pressure always pointed at Tesla from competition and regulators and everything like that. So yeah, it's pretty impressive that it's still hanging out here. So congratulations to Tesla. I really just want to get more of this stock in the long-term account. So waiting for dips, man, possibly my next dip buy if it ever gets down. Right there. I know. It's only, I don't even know if it's only 100 Canadian a month too, even, I think, FSD. So it's pretty cheap.
Oh, it's not even, I thought it was US.
No, I can check. I think it's pretty cheap. I think there might be a free trial someone was saying coming out soon. Well, yeah, man, you get your own, so basically I have my own cap.
Yeah, but why wouldn't they offer you like some, like a free, like 6 months?
I don't know. They offer me like $20 off if I recommend somebody to it. But hold on a second here. The car's charged up.
Oh, you roll people in.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Let me see how much it is here. It is loading. Yeah, it's $99 a month. That's it. So yeah, pretty cheap there, Canadian. So it's like 70 US or so.
We just add up all of your like streaming subscriptions, probably the same thing.
Yeah, probably less.
And that's only going higher if a certain deal goes through. Which I'm speculating that's what we're talking about next. If we're not, then that's my bad, because it's either that or Webull. From what I can tell.
Yeah,
let's go to Street and figure it out.
All right, guys, Webull up next, up nicely here, 5% and looking to go more. They're going to get added to the Russell 2000 and 3000. It becomes effective on the 22nd of this year. Obviously, it's a good look as some of these funds who shadowed the Russell 2000 and 3000 will be buying Webull into their own platform. So nice move here for Webull to the tune of 5%, trading above $10.
You know, somebody told us this in the morning, and I remember, like, a cursory look, I did not see the story on Webull, and I looked in our note and couldn't find it. Like, I'm looking in tip, I mean, but that's probably because it was next week, not this. Yeah, that'll be Friday of next week, right? The Raiders is it not even next week? What's the 22nd?
22nd is next.
Oh, effective.
The 19th is Friday.
Effective the Monday means the close on Friday. So the 19th, the close would be the action for Webull. There's a bunch of other index actions that are happening this week we should pay attention to. Like in the Russell 1000, SoFi is going to be an upweight tonight. It's only 1.6 million shares, but that's worth watching. Webull's back above 10, baby. Up 5%. It's done it. Oh, yeah, that's right, this chart. Zoom it in here so you can see. We're back above $10. Didn't really last super long at 8, only like 5 or 6 days. I thought consolidations usually here are a little bit longer, but I think this is a good sign. Now, the only thing you would be concerned about is, you keep in mind, we've seen this phenomenon. The 19th shows up at the close, it runs into that, and then the week after that, there may be some profit taking because now it's happened. Like, you get added to whatever indice, a bunch of people buy it up going into it, and then there's a little bit of a sell-off after, sometimes a day or two after, whatever it works out to be. So understand that as of the 19th, or I guess the 22nd, that can be a bit of a thing during the Christmas shortened week. I want to see this hold a little bit longer. Like, one day above 10 isn't going to be enough for me. This is the level I wanted to come back into and start holding to get back in on Webull for a swing. And I think that can happen. You know, a couple of closes above, maybe even the 50 period, get itself going. Yeah, good look for Webull. I do like them. I think there's better companies out there. I just feel as if the risk reward on a trade for this, the last couple of times, like when it went 10 and held, you were able to sort of catch it on some higher lows. It played up into almost exactly the prior resistance at $18, and then came right back, but it didn't hold 10 the second time. So if it's rounding out, let's hold 10 this time. Once it can prove it does that for a bit, look for that similar swing long on Webull going into the event of it being added to the Russell. This is not the same impact as the S&P, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still long Webull. I haven't done anything with these shares. But I was actually, I don't need to worry about Webull. I was actually going to talk about SoFi, so we'll just go Webull here, and then we'll click back over. Yeah, this is just a name. I'm a little bit more interested, obviously, in SoFi than in Webull. But, you know, we still got shares in both of them. I don't have anything in Robinhood. That might be the real winner because I'm not in it. But, yeah, so today SoFi just continues to go lower. Remember, they did have that share offering. happened on Monday, sent the stock down 7%, and it's basically to this level, 27. I remember writing down $27 on that day. We bounced nicely off of it, and I honestly think that we're a little bit in risk here of making a decent move lower. I mean, especially tomorrow, if that Fed doesn't deliver, positive words moving forward. The negativity there from JP Morgan having to spend a little bit more, obviously SoFi moving more into the traditional bank, Webull and Robinhood, not banks. SoFi has that charter. So I really like SoFi. I think it's a great long-term hold. And, with student loans and everybody opening up bank accounts and, just sort of capturing that market. Plus, if crypto can bounce, they're into crypto as well. So I think SoFi works, offering the credit cards, offering all that. So I'm long and a fan here of SoFi. But at these prices, I'd rather be a little more patient, wait for $25 now to come through on SoFi. So that's going to be a look that I have there as well. But there's Casey. Thank you so much for the 10 memberships right there. So if you have it selected in YouTube, you will instantly start to get those into your accounts. There it is, Casey526. Thank you so much. Very, very kind. And I know that there's some love for you as well on the Midday show. So thanks, Casey, for all of that.
Thank you so much, Casey. Yo, Sean, man.
Yeah.
Digging around, I found something
good.
pretty crazy, bro.
Nice.
Digging into some exchanges here and there, and I stumbled across BTCC. They're top 30 globally. But you know what? There's a wild part. They ain't never been hacked, man.
Oh, my God.
And
wow.
Look, other exchanges out there, they're getting wrecked, they're getting smoked, they're getting attacked. BTCC stays untouched. Like Josh Allen running through anybody's D-line.
Yeah.
Zero KYC if you're in the US, Canada, or Europe. And you know what? Through Trader TV, you get a 100 USD coupons for registering, plus a 15% bonus that covers losses up to 15K USD. Seriously, what am I missing here?
I'm not sure.
And the QR code for more info right there in front of you. Shout out to BTCC. But now, Adara.
Yeah, good read there. Adara. I mean, Neil.
Oh, Adara
no, I know.
Adara crushed that.
Yeah, good research there into BTCC. So, okay, let's go back over to the desk now. We've talked about Webull, we've talked about Tesla. Let's go find out what's next on the docket.
I gotta tell you, I'm a little shaken out of that read, man. It's a hell of a read there, Neil. Look, Netflix down, was down. They're essentially flat now, 0.13 in Greensville. Look, this has been selling off ever since we heard about Paramount Skydance's counteroffer of $30 a share. It is undecided at the moment. Paramount Skydance taking a hostile approach to the acquisition, going through the shareholder route. WBD obviously tying up with Netflix vis-a-vis the board, guys. So nothing's really changed. We got more information coming out from Paramount Skydance's side about the overtures being made by the Ellisons with Zaslav, and then basically the ghosting by Zaslav of Paramount Skydance. So nothing really new on this one other than just more information about the saga.
Yeah, and whatever happened at 2 o'clock, it's like I didn't see a particular story. Dara hasn't been able to find a particular story, but for whatever reason, like right exactly at 2 o'clock, Netflix on not a huge volume bump, like a very small volume bump, just kind of spiked. Like it bounced right off yesterday's lows, and you could argue that it made a trend break, but then I'm being real, like it broke the trend, did nothing, and then 15, 20 minutes later broke out back to the upside. So I think that the thing that has got to concern people is twofold. When the stock looks like this, and there's a lot of pressure on them right now for saying that this is already an expensive deal, we have yet to hear if they're going to up their bid. If they up their bid, I think you could see this thing, and I have a weekly chart up, by the way. You can see the W. I think you could see this underneath $90. I think that's going to be an opportunity. So if I see this down in this 83 to 90 range. It's a double bottom on the weekly chart. If this pressure puts them back down there, I think this is going to be a good buy on Netflix. Unfortunately, the market's not really loving this price tag, and that's being reflected. And so, while you just got to wait for a response to happen, if you're in WBD, I think it's giving a floor for Warner Brothers right now, because like the Netflix deal is a bit of a bottom, and then you've got this higher 30 cash bid, which gives you some upside, and the potential that this bidding war continues gives you some upside. So there's WBD like longs to be had off 27. For Netflix, I think you're in a bit of a wait and see. I mean, you could, like for me, like I want to see either a response or underneath 90, but you could also be DCAing. Like it's so far from the 200 period on the weekly. I wouldn't be too worried about that necessarily. Just want to hear a response. Like, what do they have to say? You know, one way or another. Like, tell us you're either upping your bid or you're not. I think the market's going to like it if they don't.
Yeah, I don't know what spiked this, man, but Katina Capital got into Netflix today. We bought 96s, so I bought some 96s in my own account, just deploying some capital. So this could be nasty tomorrow. I don't know. This could be down to $91. I have no idea. But I just think Netflix down off the highs. Right now down about, I think it was about like, what is it, 15% or so? Or 20% off of its all-time highs. So here's Netflix right here from 130, so even much more than that, man. You're down over 30%. Right here, 35% from highs in Netflix after a good quarter. So I'm completely comfortable buying this stock, put some money to work today in it, and don't ever plan on getting it out. I mean, this is just what it is for now. Just dip buy on strong companies and then think about it when and if it ever gets back up into this 120, 130, and then again into all-time highs. I mean, there's no... Not trying to be smarter than the market here. I just down 35%. I like the stock. I think it's obviously a little undervalued right here. The PE is still 40, so which is a high, but low for Netflix's growth potential and where I think this eventually goes. So I like Netflix. I like the live sports aspect. Forget about all the Warner Brothers Discovery thing. I think is just like sort of cherry on top. Like that would be great for them to get it, no doubt about that. But is it necessary? I don't necessarily think it is to make this stock go back up to the upside. And quite frankly, if they lose the bid right now, I think the stock goes higher. So I'm in this. I think it's a win-win here for Netflix. It's going to take, 12 to 18 months, something like that, to settle anyways, all of this. So yeah, I mean, the negative is that the cash will be tied up for that long, and I don't know, what that looks like for them. But, I think it's a buy down here at 96, and I stepped in and did that. So, you gotta make some calls at some point. I did it here at 96 bucks. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening with Netflix. I like the stock down here, down 35% from highs. So that's that. All right, 227. We do have Brian Shannon coming in about 20 minutes. So a good friend of the show, is a good friend of the recap show, now joins us live every day on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, with Neil and myself. So that should be a lot of fun. Brian Shannon coming up in 20 minutes.
Well, first of all, it's perfect because we get him before Fed. We have a lot, and 4 big earnings as well. Yeah. I'll get to you in a second, Ozan, before we go back to Sharif. But OCG, for those that are following this stock, up 260%. It is halted at highs. What is with that? This will probably fill in, but halted at 941. $10 is the current tap. It was 15. It's now down to 10, the theoretical auction price. And Ozan, if Netflix gets to $50, back to truck up. I'll say to that. Because a couple times he said Netflix to 50 easy. Easy. I had a weekly chart up. I mean, easy would be like you're breaking the 200 period moving average on a weekly chart, and then you're going another 20% down. That being said, actually I have to go to a monthly, so you can. I have to pull out a monthly chart so you can get an idea of where it would be if we got to $50. Like that's how crazy it is. Like you're underneath this gigantic double top here that broke out. So there's your 2021 high, and there's your 200 period. Like to me, it's like buying in front of this is what you want, and it's actually getting in front of that 80, so you can buy back into this high. If you saw 50, like that's a real breakdown. Like to me, like the stock is broken on a monthly if it loses $60, let alone 50. But let's see what the next name on the list is, and why is it SoFi?
Was down 0.5% after having a good day yesterday during regular trading hours and breaking out in the aftermarket when we got word of this headline. President Trump approves NVIDIA's H200 AI chip. That's basically the 2023 chip before the H100 for exports to China for approved customers as well as some other countries. The caveat is that the U.S. government gets a 25% revenue of all the H20 or H200, sales. The deal will include AMD as well as Intel, but Chinese authorities, they may not be quick to adopt this. In fact, word coming out that they may limit the use, favoring local semiconductors, and the deal excludes all the newer end chips, including Blackwell and Rubin. So NVIDIA estimates, boys, about a $50 billion Chinese market that they have 0% in at the moment.
All right, before we discuss that, we want to make sure that you guys check out, oh, this is OGen, okay. Make sure you do check out OGen, symbol listed OGEN on the NYSE. Of course, the concussion market looking at $8 billion this coming year, and there is no treatment, as we all know. Over 69 million people worldwide have suffered from concussions, and 50% of them, of course, gone undiagnosed. So make sure that if you do have any questions about that, scan the QR code that will show up, or check the link in description, find out more and book your appointment. Just to, you know, again, interesting talk there, intranasal. Go find out all about OGen. We want to thank them for their continued sponsorship, of course, of the show. I mean, look, I didn't have NVIDIA written down today, but we did talk about 185.50, and there's 185.50. So we were talking about that basically all morning, never really came into it, finally does. And the reason why I liked 185.50, just yesterday's closing price. So that came in almost perfectly. And I mean, it gets up to 70 there. I don't think you punch out at least until 186, right? Like that break there. So the short was gold, man, and you should be in it. That was about 11 o'clock, made a move higher there. Now just doing what it wants to do. I'm surprised that it's actually not moving more considering this story. So for me, it is a little puzzling here on NVIDIA and on its sort of overall blasé. We did have AMD go the other way this morning, but NVIDIA drops back into that 183. I just think it's a buy at that 78 to 80 area that's been bought up in the past. So I would just rather wait for that. I still think NVIDIA works. It's just a little bit of a hangover, right? I mean, it had huge move higher there after earnings. We broke through that 200 bucks. Oh, there's the split. We broke through the $200 mark and just kind of hung around for a couple days. And then once we've lost it, we've never regained. So we need to get back up there and have another look just to see if there's some pressure to push this through. But right now, I mean, Brian's coming on. I'll take something away from him. Like, this is, you got to wait for this to be out of the penalty box. And in my opinion here, you actually do have, if and when Brian comes on, I bet you this is a nice 5-day break right now, higher. So looks like we've settled now and starting to go back up right now. The trend is your friend on a 2-week look. So for me, I think this continues to go a little bit higher. And I think the sell point might be in and around that 2 bill mark. So if we can get back up to that spot, I think that's a sell there for NVIDIA. And then you worry about all this garbage after that, right? I mean, if you break through 210, maybe you get back in. But a good little level coming up, 200 bucks for NVIDIA. I think we see 200 before we see, well, I mean, right in the middle, like, so that's 170. So I think 170 is 14 bucks down, 200 is 14 bucks higher. So roughly in there, I think we go through 200, or at least look at it before we come back into 170. But there's a lot of earnings this week, man. There's Micron, there's Oracle, and there's a few things that could shake the tree a little bit. But, you know, we've always thought that, and NVIDIA is just its own monster, really. And it'll just continue to trade on headlines for now. I mean, I'd hate to say we have to wait for another earnings, but I mean,
we're going to get a move before the next.
Yeah, I would think we are. I don't expect much from the S&P and the Nasdaq this next following calendar year. So we'll see what happens with NVIDIA.
It was an analogy that just got thrown up by TLPO. China, can I get a freshly baked apple fritter? And then the second part of that, which I believe you put in after the fact, was no. The USA basically told them, no, you can get a 2-day-old one. But I actually don't, see, I feel like that's a bad analogy because I think it sells short how big of a deal, like it's still a pretty solid upgrade to get to $200 for them. So I think it's more along the lines of the best kind of apple fritters go to an actual like local or like a farmer's market, and that's
bakery.
Yeah, like a local bakery, something like that. Yeah. And then instead of that, China's getting like a Tim Hortons one. So still good, still fresh, still delicious, not old and stale necessarily, but obviously not the best. So I think I don't want to get too far away, but there's not much to add about NVIDIA. And so when NVIDIA does this, like look at the range. It was one move in the morning, and now we're right back to this 85, which has been resistance. Like you would think if we're going to hold 85 this long, you're going to lose it. I did because when it broke trend at VWAP, I'm like, okay, let's go. And then buyers just emerged, like a $0.50 into the move. The buyers are like, yeah, we're not going anywhere. And it's been in that same range ever since, 50-cent range from 12 o'clock to now. 2.5 hours, 50-cent range on NVIDIA. You can't trade that. So I've been short Intel. Intel's a $40 stock with the same range on it today. That's what's so crazy. And this one's holding VWAP and trend down and all that stuff. But NVIDIA, I think we got a lot of sideways action. I don't know if anything other than the Fed is going to cause this to start moving a bit more. But I suspect we're not going to do this. By this time tomorrow, NVIDIA should be flying back around. I'm as surprised as anybody that we're getting this little volatility after this headline. But I think that's why, one shot at it today, and I don't think I'll take another.
Guys, NCPL, Net Capital, a fintech company, small cap gapper, rocketing up over 100%, but well off the highs at $1.94. They added Richard Wheeless as the company's next chief executive officer. He's going to succeed Martin Kay, who's going to remain an advisor with the company. They also said they would expand beyond traditional securities as a fintech company and get into the crypto and blockchain-enabled investments, whether or not that means private market investments or already existing public market ones. Separately, they did issue this new CEO about 1 million shares worth of common stock, and they announced an inducement grant under the Nasdaq listing rules, trading nicely here on the day, but below the volume-weighted average price.
Oh, we've got a dollar stock here, and it is making its run. It's making the run. You're lining it up, but can you get all the way to the exhaust port and blow up the Death Star? Meaning, can you close 10 days over a dollar? So catalyst or no catalyst, you know what the end goal is in these situations, is can you hold? This is certainly something that's entirely possible. It's holding on to some strength. The volume is good, 260 million in volume on NCPL, and it's doing better than just holding a buck. It's holding the prior highs right now. What it is not doing, however, is breaking this little downtrend yet on a 15-minute, which I didn't draw that good, but I don't know, apparently I did, which it's trying to break right now. The volume, yuck, could start to pick up. This would get interesting for a trend break and a close above VWAP. But the key will be close above $1 today, be above $1 tomorrow morning, and I think you have something for NCPL. Otherwise, like I said, volume, if you look at the trend down from the highs and it's under VWAP, the trend on the volume is actually worse than the trend from the highs, which to me I don't like at all. If it smooths out and starts ramping back up again in terms of volume, then I would like this trend break. But it's happening on essentially no vol for NCPL.
I'm trying to. There might be a bet in our pool there. I'm trying to get Pasha versus Jeff for next year. Pasha versus Lang.
How much money can I put on Jeff?
No, it hasn't happened yet. So we're trying to wait to see if that goes down. Okay, so lots of names to talk about here today. That's it for the rundown, I think, Sharif, is. See you later. So thanks, Sharif, for all of that. Look, the one thing here is crypto. IBIT, now 94,000. Congratulations right there. That's a chicken dinner winner. If you are long right now, anything crypto related, it's a nice little boon here for the space. And there goes IBIT now up 3.5%. Just a quick little look at some of the other names in the space. There are ETFs that you could trade. There's the long Ripple ETF and all this kind of stuff. But let's have a quick little look to see what else is popping. There it is. So Ethereum, 3,300. Good job there, man. Up 8%. Wow. We had Money Mitch on talking. I think he was actually talking about going short, maybe crypto. But last week it was long. He hit that ETHU, I believe. But maybe it was the other way around. There's Ripple up 3% today. And when these things start to go, it's hard to slow them down sometimes. Solana up 6% there. Dogecoin. Wow, it's Cardano. Yes, finally. Okay. I might just sell some of these bags and just go all into Bitcoin. We've talked about that before. So Cardano right now up 10%. So some of these names continue to work out. 3.3 trillion on the market cap right now of Cryptoverse. So interesting little play there. And, just looking at a longer term chart for BTC, which of course is right here. This is just a 1 minute chart, so we can get rid of that. But nice move anyways. Today, good levels, 89.5. Going back to yesterday and the day before there. So that's a 1 minute chart. If we just go over, let's go to an hourly right now. So there still is work to do, as we can see here with Bitcoin, just back up into that level of resistance again. So we'll see if we can hold through right here, 94,000. This was those levels we didn't think we needed, and it's there now. So that was real quick. I didn't know we'd get there today, but nice move there for BTC, looking a little higher. I mean, if some of those fears of liquidation from Sailor and all that stuff, now we don't have to really worry about that. When it was down here near 80,000, people were saying, well, isn't his level 74 or 73? And everyone's asking, you know, chat and all this kind of stuff to figure all that out. But I don't think he's selling at any level, so I'm not sure what's going on. There was a story there about taking out a loan or something against his Bitcoin, or I don't know what that was last week. But there it goes right now for BTCC on an hourly chart. And again, we're going to have Brian soon. I mean, I know he's very, you know, focused on crypto as well. So good looks there from that. But yeah, this might be the level for now, 75, 76. So those of you waiting for that low, you might have missed your opportunity to buy a little bit at 80. But like 80 was the bottom. Let's just say it was 81 or 82. That is still like 10% plus move higher in the last couple days. So it's a nice move there for BTC, and I don't think it's over. So I said 97, 98 might be a little bit of a top there for BTC, so that might be something to look at. But that's what I'm doing right now, waiting to see what that next move is on BTC, and then potentially sell some around that 97, 98. But remember, like, I still want to be able to hold this for a long time. All right, security review. So we heard this, right? Like,
yeah, this is like 10 minutes ago, I think.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, I think even from yesterday and stuff, like, you know, there was always going to be, they even mentioned like reviewing some of the companies that were going to receive some of these chips and whatnot. So there is still a story to be had here about not just giving away the technology. There's going to be, I mean, look, if the Commerce Department's doing it, I don't know exactly how much vetting there will be, but there will be some kind of vetting, apparently, not just on, I guess, the chips themselves, but also on the companies that are being shipped these chips. So, yeah, NVIDIA for right now, downside, but by the way, we're also short the futures, so that was a good one right there. We'll say what's up to Ozan as we're short the futures, so NVIDIA's helping that play get to the downside. Now 21 cents in the money. We should maybe take a fill. I'm waiting for 95s. Let's be patient and see if we get a 95 fill here on the futures. But yeah, I like NVIDIA here. Like I said, I think I'll wait for 178, 179 to buy it.
And speaking of buying, there's a lot of buying going on in OpenDoor right now.
Okay.
As it continues to break higher. No specific story that I can find, but can't be a bad thing that we're going to get a rate cut tomorrow. Like, that's not going to be a negative for OpenDoor. So this is what's happening now. Fresh highs just got made today, going into yesterday's highs. Like, it's not just yesterday's highs you have to contend with. You still have like about 765, let's call it, a bit of a double top. But here's what looks good. OpenDoor, look at this nice wedge that's forming. It's only nice, though, if it breaks higher out of this wedge. That's when we got to think about it. Like, this cuts both ways, so don't at me if it breaks this wedge and heads down, and then you're buying this thing at $4. Right now, it's going up, so it looks like the most likely thing that would happen is a potential break. You're not only breaking this little bit of a wedge pattern, but you potentially would take the 50 period, that's the teal line, SMA on the daily chart. That could happen as soon as tomorrow. And when would it happen? When we get our rate cut? We get a chance to, tomorrow, potentially, with this rate cut, get a breakout on OpenDoor, which in theory should be a little bit rate sensitive. So I think that's a setup for, ideally, I would want this to happen before 2 o'clock. Like, I would rather OpenDoor make this breakout and be breaking above 760 going into the number. That way, if you're long it, you're longing going into 2 o'clock, as opposed to taking a shot to punch into some move at 2 o'clock that hits.
Remember, last time there was zero move, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, because if you're in the money and it's going, it's like, well, maybe it goes in your favor. The fact that you're already in the money and then you get the cut that you want. Otherwise, if you just punch in and nothing happens, then a bunch of people punching the same level and nothing happens, you end up getting punked. There was just a halt, I do believe. That's this. I'll update this one. I know we have Brian coming to. I haven't heard a word just yet.
LGHL.
There's another one.
Is there?
There's AFJK. That was the other one this morning. LGHL halted. But AFJ. Whoops. Oh, it's because it's still. Why is it still on Blue Ocean? There we go. What in the actual? There we go.
There we go.
Hit it like just third time I hit it. 480% to the upside. The stock is halted a bajillion times. You got 46.62. The current tap is $65. So if it were to open right now, they're indicating it's going to open 30% higher from here on AFJK. 5 million in volume. So watch out, everybody. This one looks like it's a untradeable mess.
All right, let's get back to some trading over here. Look at this, man. The futures right now. Thanks, Joe. Joe's over there like, get it, Katina, man. It's always great to get the support from my guy, Joe. The guy's not even on the show, and the guy's loving this. There it is right there, 55.90s. We get our 95. We just put a 91 there as well. We're going to wait to see if we can get some love down here near VWAP, which is 80s. So, again, short. We have the master of the anchored VWAP coming up very, very soon with my good friend Brian Shannon from Alpha Trends. But if we can get a VWAP fill, that'd be good for me, baby. We've only spent a little bit of time underneath it, and that was at the beginning of the day. So maybe we do fall in. And I've been mentioning it on the chat for a couple minutes here, but we do have Sia coming up. How about right now? No, how about not right now with a segment? So she'll be up very, very shortly as Andre says, no, let's not do that. Okay, Joe also. Yo, Joe. There it is. He's back to the futures as well. This guy now short. He just put in the chat. Good to see that, Joe. Short at 56.10 right now on the Nasdaq. So we're in here trading. Well, obviously, we're all short here with Intel as well, but a big trade hopefully right now developing as we look forward to Brian coming through, and then tomorrow, at this time tomorrow, the market will be just a little bit more slippery.
Hopefully.
Is it tonight is Oracle? I have to double check. Is it tomorrow? Infographics to come.
Tonight's only GameStop, I believe.
Yeah, so GameStop's looking.
Sorry about that. I'm back. Oracle, Synopsys, Adobe tomorrow after the bell. Infographics on watch.
All right, yeah. People in the chat saying Adair had some sign language there, so that was good. Yeah, thank you so much for that update there, Adair. Yeah, tonight I think might be just GameStop. You can go over Cracker Barrel. Oh yeah, the Cracker. The barrel of crackers there tonight. You can go over here at Trader TV Research and get that. Here's me at the gym, by the way, right there doing my best Sharif impression right now. But yeah, it was a fun day over there. It's starting to snow. I don't know. We'll have Brian on coming through, and we'll probably snowing in his neck of the woods as well. Great for that powder. I'm going to show Brian. We are on a little baby hill compared to those there in Colorado. Of course, I took my son there on Sunday. What a great time, man. Outdoors for like 8 or 9 hours. Man, did we sleep okay that night. All right, Sia, it's time to get an update. Let's go see what she's up to.
Thank you so much, guys. So let's talk about the Fed interest rate decision that drops tomorrow at 2 p.m., followed by the Fed press conference at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. Stocks are on the rise. This interest rate decision will be the last of the year, and CME's Fed Watch tool indicates an 87% chance that Jerome Powell and the Fed will cut interest rates tomorrow, which is up from 67% from last month ago. There was also a 10-year note auction at 1 p.m. today. The Fed bid 4.188 versus the 4.074% last time around. Stressing this yet again, following the initial announcement late yesterday, NVIDIA's shares are slightly lower today. The company received green light from U.S. President Donald Trump to sell its dated H200 chips into China. President Trump okayed the sale of the advanced H200 chips only to certain approved customers. NVIDIA is also going to pay a 25% fee to the U.S. government on all sales. This decision is also going to apply to other giants in the chip-making industry, such as AMD and Intel. Moving on to Pfizer is trading lower even as the company is at a $2.1 billion licensing deal with Yao Pharma. The aim is to develop and commercialize an obesity pill, which could basically boost the company's presence in the weight loss industry. And separately, the vaccine stocks are volatile after news this afternoon that the FDA has launched a probe into alleged deaths directly linked into COVID shots, including adults. Last but not the least, let's talk about Home Depot. Home Depot stock is trading at a 0.8% lower. At its annual investor relations day yesterday, the company provided a rather lower than expected sales growth forecast for the past year, for the new year. Sorry, my apologies. The forecast for the company's 2026 fiscal year were made before the investor conference last Tuesday. And that's all from my end. Back to the guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, C. Getting love in the chat and lots of people saying what a fantastic job. And you know what? It's important. I'm glad that you brought up that percentage chance of the cut tomorrow, because oddly enough, that was 89 at one point yesterday, and it's 87
this morning.
Well, yeah, this morning, but at Kalshi, it's all the way up to like 96%. So there's this weird thing where like the money markets are like, there's an outside chance we don't get the cut. But over at Kalshi, the actual betting markets are like essentially all in. That's been trending only higher. Like this was at 91, I believe, at one point, and now we're gonna get to this one will be at like 99, I bet, tomorrow. But there's that sliver. So I think in the back of our minds, like we go into tomorrow and this is still hanging under 90%. I'm not saying you don't get a cut. I'd just be saying at 2 o'clock. Don't just sit there with your hands back expecting nothing to happen, because on the off chance, and it's now over a 10%, it's still over a 10% chance that we don't get that rate cut, you might want to be ready to pounce, because I think IWM could dump and there might be a chance to be able to punch in. It's good timing. Obviously, we have the Fed tomorrow. We've got some earnings coming out this week. And we even got a question before we came on. Someone asked me a question about VWAP that is probably perfect, because we get a chance to talk to one of our favorite guests and possibly ask him the question. We got Brian Shannon jumping on through.
All right, let's go. It's wait, Brian, we have something to do. Okay, here it goes. It's Stock Blitz. There we go. We do have to have. I tried to, next time we'll have the welcome trader thing hooked up there. But Brian, how are you doing? Welcome to the show here once again.
I'm sorry, I was trying to get my camera, so I'm in the middle.
Oh, okay. There you go. No, you're fine. You're all good. You're all good. Looks good over there. How's it going over there? We were just talking about a little snow happening right now in lovely Toronto. I'm sure maybe you're experiencing some there. It's Denver, right?
Denver, yeah. It's pretty dry here, actually. We just had a nice storm, and it's going to be dry for the next 3 weeks. So kind of bummer for the mountains.
Yeah, I get that for sure. Tomorrow we have Jerome Powell coming through in the Fed rate decision, right? And we talked about that a couple of times here already today. It looks like it's going to be 89 to 90% or so. What's going on? Who's over there? Andre. What's up, Andre? Maybe me and Brian, if you get a second. 96% on Kalshi, 89% or so on the Fed rate tool. But maybe we're having some problems right now. Let me know, Andre, if we are or not. But okay, there we go. What is your opinion here on traders that are potentially looking to maybe sit on their hands from now until 2 p.m.? I feel like that might be a good idea. We're getting a sort of a good bounce here in the market today, a little bit. It was a little higher. Now we're kind of flattening out. I think the best strategy for now is look for stocks that have some sort of a headline risk. But other than that, I could see a little flattening out here leading into tomorrow. Any opinions on what to do in the moments heading into Fed rate?
Yeah, it's been a good environment since last week. There's just been a lot of nice winners on the swing trade side, and
right.
Going into tomorrow, I'm not planning on initiating any new swing trades, no matter what the setup looks like. Generally, the first hour and a half of the day is a good, busy. Got some trades to make in there, and then it slows way down. We get those jitters around the event, and then just all the madness after. So. I'm just trying to protect what I've got here so far. This, like I said, it's been a good week.
You a believer? Yeah, exactly. It's still early. You a believer of the Santa Claus rally? I mean, I know there's statistics to back it up, but we had Michael Noss, of course, on Monday, and he was talking about, it's the last 5 days of the year, and then the first 2 or 3 days heading into January. Do you ever schedule any trading around that event either?
I don't schedule trading around it, Sean, but I always find that, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July, all the, Memorial Day, all those holidays seem to be great trading environments, in particular at the end of the year, because it seems like a lot of the big funds have kind of, winding things down. And then you get a lot of crazy moves in the little names. All the theme names, I think, are going to start to really wake up again the last 2 weeks of the year as maybe some of these hedge funds try to really gun them pretty hard so that they can ensure nice big bonuses based on where they close December 31st or whatever the last day of the year is. So that's really what I'm looking forward to and do every year at this time of year.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Can I ask you a question? Can we circle back to the Fed tomorrow? And you mentioned, not necessarily putting anything new on. How far removed from the decision would you be before you're like, okay, well, we've been able to assess how the markets are moving. Russell does whatever in the days after tomorrow. How far after the event do you get enough information that you're like, okay, back to maybe looking for some setups going into the end of the year? Wait a day or almost like right after, depending on technicals?
I usually kind of, treat it as it needs a little bit of time to settle down. We often get a little bit of false movement, and it'll take 2 to 3 days for the market to really figure out what it wants to do. But in those 2 or 3 days, we get some good volatility that can be great for day trades. But as far as putting new swing trades on, I'm going to take things a little bit slower for initiating in there. But as we come out of that and the market figures out what it wants to do, then we should have, I think, a pretty good trend into the end of the year. I'd actually love to see a sell-off tomorrow and maybe the next couple days, bring us down towards that 20 and 50-day moving average on the SPY down at about 675. And then that would really clear the decks and set us up for a super strong close to the year.
Yeah, sometimes when you want those really good levels, it's like, it'll bounce right before because everyone's looking at that technical and you just miss it. There was a question, Brian, that I'm glad you came on because I gave my answer to one of our viewers. And today, specifically, I think they were referencing NVIDIA. But there's been a few stocks like this. So we're not getting a lot of volatility. NVIDIA is on a day after this big H200 news for China. It is just literally hugging the volume-weighted average price. Effectively, it's not really doing anything. And the question that got asked was, what price action do you typically see when a stock is completely for the whole day anchored to the volume-weighted average price? Now, what I said was, you know what? I don't know, but I would default to what was the trend before, if there was one. Otherwise, what would your explanation be for a stock news-based just hugging VWAP all day long?
It would tell me, listen, the market can't make up its mind here, so why bother? But I agree with, give it the benefit of the doubt to the higher trend, which, with this 5-day moving average is rising. That purple is the week-to-date anchor, and the blue is the month-to-date. So on the 30-minute time frame, we're still looking bullish, but then we're up against the 50-day moving average. We've got a declining 20. To me, there's just too much trend confusion in there that I think you're better off, looking at a different stock, basically. If there's no volatility in the name on the short term and you're getting mixed messages on a longer-term time frame, then to me, it says if it's not clear, just leave it alone.
I like that whole leave it alone when it's not clear. If you left Bitcoin alone recently, or like some people, myself included, thought, hey, this move is naturally taking us into the mid-70s. Now we're already bouncing. We're back above prior support here on Bitcoin. And that the trend line, because I have this trend line going all the way back. It goes back to like 2023. Like that broke, and now that prior trend line is offering resistance. Did we miss the move? Or because to me, it hasn't really broken out from here yet, but it's starting to look like that move into 70, that happened, and it was 80. What are your thoughts?
I think it's tricky. That Neil, if you look at the daily chart, we're still got a declining 50, declining 200-day moving average, and this could still be setting up kind of a little bit of a bearish flag. Now, it might be the time it just goes, but in the last 2 weeks, we've had rallies from 80 to 92, back down to 84, up to 92, back down to 88, and here we are at 94 again. I'm not going to chase it, and maybe this is the time it goes and I miss it, but I'm okay with that. Again, it's just one of these ones where I don't have the clarity, so I'm not going to try to go in there and force things and try to make the trade happen. As they say, missed opportunity is better than lost money. So I just got my screen sharing there to show you what I mean. These are those 3 drives that I was talking about, and they're right into the anchor from this pretty important high from November 10th. So I definitely wouldn't chase it here, and this could be a bearish flag still. Maybe it goes. If it does, 100 looks like the spot.
There you go. Thanks. Thanks. I mean, it makes
I
me
didn't
feel
really
better.
say much there, but I mean, it's just not clear. So I'm just not going to get involved.
Well, I've been sort of, for myself, I'm speaking for myself. I've been like, I'm not kicking myself, but I've been pretty convinced technically, like each time we break down, I'm like, okay, we're just going to wait. It's getting down there. And this hasn't been a big enough move to give me that FOMO, but I feel like if it breaks out this like 95, then I'll be asking myself, okay, did I really miss it? But looking at that 100 and reminding myself, hey, look at the 100 support turning into some resistance. And obviously now that you have some anchors up there, that could still reject and we could still have a move down. So you can always zoom out to a higher time frame, Brian. But I like what you said last, which was there's nothing wrong with missing it. There's nothing wrong with not taking the trade if there's no clarity. Like if it's not there, it's not there. If it's not there the way you like it, then what's the point? There's a trader that would say to me, you got to be willing to miss the trade to make the trade. Like that means you have to be looking for something, right? And if you're looking for something and it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen, and you got to be able to move on. Definitely,
if it doesn't fit your parameters, then it's okay to just not trade it. But you hear all the talk, hey, it's going to 100 by the end of the year, and people believe that, and we've had 2 good drives that suckered people the last 2 times. This could be the one that goes, and if it does, I'm happy. I'm not happy I'm not in it, but I'm happy to miss it. I'm okay with missing it because it doesn't fit my parameters.
So we're gonna get it mic'd up and in just a quick little second. But Joey Options on our show wants to be able to ask you a question. So I think we're gonna get it mic'd up for a chance. And you guys let me know we can work that one out. Otherwise, Joe, if we can't, then you can always just let us know for sure. But like risk management is absolutely everything. You have to have a plan of action. We say that all the time.
Yeah, you need to have something like that going on. Brian, I stepped in today to Netflix. So, obviously with a lot of action now with Warner Brothers, and then we saw the Paramount Sky bid come in yesterday. Apparently they can offer more, and they're going to go try to give 30 as opposed to 27 and change that Netflix is looking at right now. For me, though, Netflix just reported a pretty good quarter, which they're not getting any credit for whatsoever because everyone's all worried now about how much they're going to pay, what this means for Netflix, and, are they going to, is all this money going to get tied up for how long until this deal settles down? Is it a good deal? Is it not? I'm not trying to play that game. What I'm trying to figure out right here is that we're back in. We're down over 35% from highs on Netflix. When they have increased subscribers, to me, the macro looks pretty good for them. Content continues to be king. They've got some good live properties now as well with the WWE and WFC coming on board. Netflix as well for some Christmas Day games, basketball, baseball now as well, looking to get some F1 stuff like that. But I think we go all the way back here. See this little gap that happened, Brian, back in the beginning of the year from January, basically the 21st, up here, gapping into $96. I've just bought today. So I waited this whole move out until we got into 96. Today, you get that. There's nothing better than getting that little alert in your account, Brian? Like, ding, a trade filled, right? So we got that alert today that now we're long 96. I have a feeling you're going to tell me it's not great because it looks like it's still in the penalty box, Brian. I know, I see you. I know what we're going to say here. But I like it for a little nibble down here. 35% from the top. I think it's a fair time to get in. What does Netflix look like to you? And maybe you can digest or dissect this a little bit more for our viewers.
It is not one that typically I would be looking to buy simply because, it's below all the key moving averages. In particular, Sean, on the weekly time frame, look at how long we spent above that 20, 31, and 42-week moving average. Years. And now we're breaking down below it. And, I look at it, if you're looking for a bounce, sure, maybe it rallies back up towards, the 20-day moving average up near 105. But for me, I look at it and just say, this seems most likely that it will, oops, what happened to my camera? Damn it. anyway, it just looks most likely that it's going to continue lower. The trend is established. For a bounce, it probably makes a lower high and continues down is
where would you put an anchor on that?
assessment.
Would you put an anchor, like where's the anchor from the high? Because, you know, we're all the way back up there at about $132 or so. Remember, we just had the reverse split, or sorry, the split as well, Brian. So I was thinking that there could be some more retail love, and it doesn't seem like it's getting anything right now off that split, right? I mean, I know the split has nothing to do with the valuation of the company or anything like that, but generally speaking, you'll have a little bit of a downflow off of a recent split as it's just easier to short, and more traders, again, just a little cheaper to get those options and whatnot to the downside. And a $100 name's a lot easier to short than a $1,000 name. So I was thinking that some pressure could come off there. But is the anchor from the high telling you anything? I just saw you put it on there.
Yeah, you know, it's probably too high really to have any significance. That's up at 116, and here we are 20 points below that. So it really doesn't really provide any value at this point. We broke below the year-to-date anchor. That's that blue one. And now we're coming into the anchor off of this low from, it looks like the second quarter of 2024. And, you know, that could be a good place for a bounce. But I still think, Sean, it seems more likely that maybe it comes down towards this anchor, and it just doesn't, you know, have that bullish look.
All right, we'll give it a couple seconds. And Joe.
Oh, perfect. Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Hey, Joe.
Good. Yeah, look, I just wanted to take a couple of steps back here. I heard you and Neil talking about Bitcoin, and I'm looking at this in multiple ways, and I just want to know your thoughts on this. Considering from peak to that previous pivot low, we were down 36%. But what I was specifically looking at was not only the price action print on that November 20th low, so our November 21st low, but also the volume signature as well, too. It was the largest that we've seen in over a year span. I'm just curious on your thoughts in the correlation between the price action prints and an outstanding volume print as well, too.
That's a very good point because, you know, volume expands in the direction of the trend and peaks at turning points. So I think that might be that you're right that, and here we can see it on the IBIT, that we saw volume expand on the way down, and then we had that volume stamp right here. And so far, and then people will start to complain, well, it's, you know, rallying on light volume. That doesn't really matter because only price pays. But we can start to now put an anchor off of that low and look at it from there. And keep in mind this is also where we see, you know, the anchor from the inception of the Bitcoin ETFs. So that had been support back in 2025, kind of, you know, trying to find that buying support in here now. And so from a shorter term perspective, the volume did what it was supposed to. It expanded in the direction of the trend and peaked right at the turning point. The problem is when it is the turning point, you know, the day before you would have thought, hey, there's the biggest volume. So it's only after the fact that we can look at it and say, and that doesn't really make it mean it's not useful. But here when we look at it, you know, that's important. We're holding the anchor off of that low. So if you're a buyer in here recently because of that big volume stamp, I would say, you know, you trail your stops up, maybe underneath this higher low right here.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. And I was pulling up the exact same thing on MicroStrategy, or strategy, I guess we should say now. Identical print as well, and starting to find somewhat of a rebound. So I was just curious on your thoughts of the correlation between price and the volume in itself. So fantastic stuff. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I like it. Good point.
Thank you.
Okay, Brian, we're going to take a couple of questions here. I asked some people in the chat if they had any ideas for you. And here we go. This is from Drop System here. Ask Brian about Hood. So, you know, Neil and I, Joe, I know Joe likes Robinhood as well, and some of us here on the desk have been looking at SoFi, we've been looking at Robinhood, we looked at Webull today as well. But what do you think about Robinhood here? And, you know, when you assess a stock, and when we're asking you these questions, just so everyone's aware, you pretty much just look at the technical analysis, right? I mean, are you looking, when you look at a stock like Robinhood, do you consider some of the macro, like maybe potentially what Bitcoin's doing, or some of the issues surrounding retail trade and how that's affected with Robinhood? Or when you make a stock, a call on a stock, are you just simply looking at technical analysis?
Well, I'll consider fundamentals a little bit simply because I know that they're important to so much of the other, the rest of the market. And if it's a good company with, strong revenues and strong earnings, I'm not going to buy the stock while it's going down because of that. But as it presents to me a low risk, what I perceive to be a low risk entry, then I might size it up a little bit, knowing that there's likely fundamental support for the stock as well, and that those buyers are going to be there. Now, Robinhood has surprised me a little bit in that, we had this high and a lower high, and then we broke down. And I was kind of thinking we're going to see a little bit, maybe deeper pullback in this area before we're able to push through. Now, though, we're getting, we've just run from 100 to 140 in a month, less than a month. So it's up 40%. Great gain. I would say the name of the game in here is to make sure that, especially with the Fed tomorrow, that you have a plan to protect some of those. It would be really nice to see maybe a pullback down towards that 20-day moving average, come over like this, and then you could look at this as a head and shoulders pattern. With this is the shoulder, this is the head. Now, then we start to carve out this right shoulder. And then, it kind of plays into what I'm hoping we get for the market overall, which is to pull back down towards, for the SPY down towards this zone. And then, clear the deck and let this market really rip into the end of the year. I don't think it's as likely that it can make a big move from this level because it's so far extended. So pull back, create that right shoulder, and then get going would be the ideal scenario. And then I'd want to buy it over right around this area as it's starting to rally up that right shoulder, and like right in here with a stop maybe there initially and raise it up further.
Yeah, that's a name that I know a lot of people are interested in. And we have another one from PMAC, if we can. And we have you here, Brian, so we had to take advantage of it. Thoughts on CoreWeave? This actually, there was news today, so it has been moving around. Well, the last couple of days with an offering and then a bit of a positive news piece. It's been moving around for the chip news as well. But it falls into this category of IPOs that have gotten, well, effectively woodshedded from the highs and now trying to make their way back up.
Which one? I didn't catch the symbol, Neil.
So CRWV, CoreWeave.
CoreWeave.
Oh,
yeah.
CoreWeave, yeah. I mean, what I forgot what price they came public at, but I mean it's still
40.
Major from the IPO price, and it's getting a nice run. I just don't like the personality of this name. It gaps up, sells off huge, and then it gaps down and rallies. So it's just super choppy in here. And the way I look at it is just right now, it's at the towards the end of maybe one of these moves that it looks like chasing it up here. Doesn't mean it can't continue to go higher, but to make fresh purchases here, especially with that Fed tomorrow, I'd rather see it pull back and then start to buy in spots like this as it starts to rally after that pullback, that next pullback. So somewhere like that would be ideally what I'd be looking for. And maybe it can rally, who knows, maybe all the way up to that 50, up here we've got the 50-day moving average and the anchor from the IPO.
Ryan, can we just have like maybe a little bit of a broader discussion here about where do you think the market is headed into the new year? Like, heading maybe the first 3 to 6 months of 2026. I mean, earnings have been pretty strong. And the chart to me, I mean, when we're looking at, I mean, you tell me, but I think when we're looking at the Qs right now, I feel like one more test, we've come up here once into 640. We're just sort of right now retesting pretty much, the second level of this high, right? Like tier 2 there. If we can get back above and break through this 640, I do think it sets up for a decent run next year. But with some of these overhangs with China and then just where the valuation is in the market with the market PE around 25 and some of these stocks getting extended, I don't really think it's going to be a huge rally in the first couple months of next year. Is there anything that you're thinking? Have you sent anything out to your subscribers potentially about what to expect for the first couple months of 2026?
I'm just not really good at that, Sean. I mean, if I say I think it's up 10%, it'll go down 10%. If I think it's going to go down 10, it'll go up. So I just like to take it, a week or so at a time and try to project out the scenarios for that. I just can't participate in that type of. It's not my time frame. I add no value to the conversation there.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. It's just that then what do you think about that high then on the Nasdaq? Like, do you think we can fade off of that? Because that's really what I'm looking for right now, Brian, is like, are we going to touch that 640 on the Qs, or we can go right to the ES or the NQs if you'd like to as well, or the SPY? But I'm just trying to figure out, like, for me, it's just things are seemingly like a little top heavy. We've had a hard time sort of breaking through the top. Everyone thought NVIDIA might do it. Since then, we sort of pulled back again here. Now Neil was just talking to you about crypto.
Look at the financials.
You know,
XLF trying to break out. It can't do it either.
Yeah, there's good point there. JP Morgan down 4 or 5% today. Oil continues to be lower here a little bit. Gold's pausing, silver taking off. So it's just there's just a bunch of stuff happening right now, and I'm just thinking that we're a little top heavy. What kind of action would you expect if we touch that 640 again on the Qs?
Again, let me point out this scenario that I just drew in for the NASDAQ. If we got to pull back down into here and created an inverted head and shoulders pattern, which is supposed to be a reversal pattern, but whatever. The height of that pattern is approximately 40 points. So we take that 40 points and we add it to the breakout point at 625. That would imply a price target objective of 665. So maybe we're going to see a really nice, blow off top into that 665 level in the first quarter and then start to settle down. I mean, that's as much as a scenario as I could look at and say I could see that happening.
Okay, I mean that makes sense. I'd like to look for something like that. I mean, as some of these higher value stocks look to sort of rebound from those lows. Do we have another question?
Cisco, did you say?
No, just high valued stocks. Like we have a Palantir. Oh yeah, how is Cisco doing? You brought that last week to us. No, but you had brought this to us last week, and we haven't actually looked at it. It's actually, Brian, as it come over to my screen here, it looks like we're kind of at the same levels we were a little bit when you were here last week. It must have been down here. You nailed that one, so congratulations. You had mentioned to us what stock was at like 25-year highs and looking to break out. So I assume you still like Cisco up here?
And what's the target on that?
I'm still long 3/4 of my position. I'm looking to take a quarter off on a breakout past this year's high, which is just above 80, so very close. I'm not going to take it off exactly at that point, but I'm going to start to get really tight on half of my stop. And then I'm looking for it to go to the all-time high by the end of the year here. That's at 82 and change. What is it? 82 even is the all-time high. I think they just want this thing up at a new all-time high for just because it's been 25 years.
All right, I found
the most unique charts to see like a double top, like a 30-year double top.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. First of all, there can't be too many comps for what's going to happen next on that high of a time frame for like that little U-shaped pattern, Brian. But I mean, if it breaks, wouldn't you think it would explode?
Maybe a breakout.
I don't know, only because it's doubled in the last 6 months, 9 months to get there. So I'm looking at it just from the swing trade perspective of, I'll sell a little bit on that break past 80. Then if I can get another 2 points up in here, and if it continues to run, well, I'll raise my stop up underneath the higher lows. But I'm not looking for a run to 100 or something. But you never know. I mean, that's certainly possible. It's not. The time by the time it got to 100, it's going to have 3 or 4 or 5% pullbacks. So I think it'll be a great continue to be a good trader.
Brian, we have another question here from RFID Trader here. The question is, why is Eli Lilly going down? I don't think that's the proper question right now. But Eli Lilly is now down. I mean, unless you know everything about Eli Lilly. I don't know if you know why, but Eli Lilly right now is 7, 8, 9 days here, including today, if we can get it there, straight downside. And to me, this looks like, I don't know what this is called. I'm going to call this like the mountain peak here. It looks kind of like the top of a little house there. But, straight up with tons of momentum, and then just failing off that top. It's not even really news-based too much. Nice move back in here for Eli Lilly. When I zoom back out just a little bit, I'm thinking that, looking at past tops kind of reminds me a little bit of that Cisco, obviously not on the same kind of time frame. But could we expect maybe a pullback into here into 920 or so? That's the 50-period moving average that I have marked down there. The 200, which is a lot lower than where we are right now, 20% lower, in fact, is your 200-period moving average. For me, Brian, I always get nervous when a the stock is so far extended away from its 200 period. But this doesn't look like a healthy pullback to me. So I don't know what's going on here, but I would say maybe 960 and then 920. What do you think when you see a chart like this on Eli Lilly?
I agree with you on that, there are two things here. One, the people who bought the dip to the 20-day moving average were early because, at that point, the stock was at 1030. And if you look at that 30-minute time frame, it got a very slight bounce in there. But the guiding principle for me is I'm not going to buy this while it's still below a declining 5-day moving average.
Right.
So it's still in pullback mode or in the penalty box or whatever you want to call it. We've got the anchor off of this mid-October low, and that comes into your 960 level, Sean, and just below it, as you said, that 50-day moving average is there, and that 50-day moving average in the next week will look like this. So maybe 950, 960 is the place that it can, kind of flush down to, and then if it starts to turn sideways for a day or two, then you get that 5-day moving average flattened out. Then I would want to be a buyer on strength with a stop under that low, whatever forms over here.
Can I add some confluence to that here, Brian? Because I think if we, that's exact same level for the viewers that are curious, go back to a weekly. This is the August 2024 high, which was all kinds of resistance at 950 bucks. And then it did this little channel thing to the downside. I guess there's probably a name. It's probably just literally a downward channel is what I should be calling it. It did this downward channel off that high, and then it broke out. So to me, this makes sense at 950 bucks, so much so, we should put alerts there at the 950. I love the analysis on Lilly, but I think I love when you can find that kind of confluence where you're looking at a level zeroed in, you pull the chart back out, and then it tells you that level is even more important.
Well, you know what? Well, you said confluence. It made me think, well, maybe I ought to throw a Fibonacci on there. So I went down to the August of this year's low and ran it up to the high, and look where a 38.2% retracement comes in, right at about 930. So this general zone somewhere in here, if it can start to consolidate in there, then again, what I want to look for on let's say the 30-minute time frame is that it would we'd start to see that 5-day moving average come down and flatten out. Let's say this thing goes down to 950 or whatever. It starts to come back up like this, starts to go sideways, builds some higher lows, and then by a break here at, let's just call it 980, and then a stop will go underneath these lows, and then you can begin your bounce up towards maybe the anchor from the beginning of the month or from the now all-time high, meaning that would come into, a bounce would come into maybe this 1030 level.
All right, here he is, Brian Shannon, at alphatrends.net is the look here. Go visit him, find him all over X as well as on StockTwits as well. Thank you, Brian. I mean, you went overtime today with us, and we want to thank you kindly for that. And
appreciate it.
If you stay in our chat, maybe some people could ask you some questions, but if you have to go, that would be fine too. So thanks, Brian. Was there one other name you might, we just dropped a bunch of names at you. As we wrap this up, is there maybe one more in 1 minute that you could discuss, something that you're looking at potentially?
With the Fed tomorrow, I'm not really too excited about that much. But like I said, this time of year, we're going to start to see maybe some of those theme stocks. So I would start looking at, Rigetti and Friends. I would look at Oklo and NESMR and, maybe the flying cars, the Joby and the Archer and those types of things. Start culling a list from those ones that have had really big runs this year. Those are the ones that could have some pretty crazy runs into the end of the year. BBAI, SoundHound, those types of names.
BBAI sounds like music to my ears, that's for sure, Brian. So I know you've been on SoundHound for a minute. So it's Brian Shannon, everybody. Thank you so much, Brian. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks, Brian.
Sean, I haven't told subscribers this yet, but I did buy a little bit of BBAI today.
Ooh, I like
Building.
that idea. Good job there, Brian. I think he has a chance to run. We're looking forward to that too. World Cup, airports, all that kind of stuff, travel. Good name there for BBAI. Thank you, Brian, and we'll have you on next
Thanks,
week.
everybody. Okay.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
See you, Neil.
Stock Blitz. All right. There it is.
Thank you for that. Let's take a look here at ALKT because this one did make some moves, as you can see, while we had Brian Shannon on. Thanks again to Brian Shannon for being here. Bloomberg reporting that Jana, which is an activist investor, has been urging Alchemy Technology to explore a sale. Here's ALKT. So again, activist investor apparently pushing the company to explore a sale. They're moving around on this. Keep an eye as well here. I mean, you can check out this infographic on X at TTV Research. This just kind of explains that move in JP Morgan that we just had. But why am I bringing this up now? Because it's Citigroup's turn. We do have the company's incoming CFO, Gonzalo Luchetti. He's currently speaking at the Goldman Sachs Financial Services Conference, the same conference where Marianne Lake, CEO of Consumer and Community Banking at JP Morgan, spoke earlier today, and that led to that drop in the stock. So just be aware here for trading. See some commentary coming from CFO Luchetti, or incoming CFO Luchetti. It's also worth noting, Luchetti did just say, guys, that he expects the Fed to cut rates tomorrow, like everybody else does. Back to you.
Genius
Exactly.
take.
I'm waiting for see, this is the thing. How can it be at 87% chance of a rate cut, yet where are the people actually saying it's not going to happen? If it's really like a 1 in 8 chance that we don't get a cut tomorrow, I haven't heard a single analyst or anyone that we usually, again, I'm sure there's somebody out there. It's just I'm not following anybody on X that's hearing it. I'm not reading any articles that's seriously saying it either. It just kind of leads in the back of your mind to, okay, well then the more that's true, if it doesn't happen, be ready. OpenDoor, I'm looking at you. AFJK, everybody, it's halted again. So this thing halted down while we were talking to Brian. And you look, the stock is up 800% or whatever it was, 700% at the time. Halts down, you think maybe it's the end? Nope. Halted down at 63 change. It is now halted to the upside at 72 with the implied open at $78. So, okay, there you go. It just opened up at 78 and continues to go higher. Now 83. This is going to be a potential. I don't want to jinx it. I don't know if anyone's long this thing or crazy enough to be. It's going to halt up again here. It just hit the halt band at 85.42. This could hit 1,000% to the upside. So yeah, congratulations. Congratulations. If you happen to be long this, all I will say is we had a bunch of stories about offerings in the last couple of days. There's at least a few of these, maybe not 1,000% to the upside, but there've been a few smaller cap, lower float names that have had runs. And then literally the day after, maybe 2 days later, we're talking about an offering. So you always want to have that in the back of your mind. You got to pay yourself out on these. Pretty much never do stocks do this and not fall back precipitously. Sometimes it's incredibly nasty. Again, the congrats has obviously been a fantastic one here for you today. But just to put it in perspective, well, I wanted to go back to the daily chart. Just to put it into perspective, like you were at 7. This went from 11 to 42 to 7 to now 85. Like as it gets more volatile to the upside, the reverse ends up being true more often than not. So good luck to anyone that happens to be in it. A reminder, now the tap is $91, now it's 88. Just a reminder for anybody, if it halts in the last 10 minutes, it opens at 4 regardless of time. So like that whole 5-minute halt or 10-minute halt doesn't matter if it halts into the end of the day. It will open up at 4 o'clock where things can get even more crazy on a stock like AFJK. Which I don't even think we've said the name of the company once.
No, because we don't know it, I don't think.
AMI Healthcare?
Oh, yeah, Amy.
Amy? Is it?
That's what I was calling it earlier.
Amy Healthcare Technologies. It's a healthcare company. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Okay, I don't know if you guys noticed, we just tweeted this out, but we've just been covering. I mean, we had Brian on for a while there, so during his, you might have seen me putting some trades in, but we've just been covering here. I mean, we saw, this was what was happening early, man. It was just kept on bouncing, did not break, but we're gonna hold this into this for a potential flush into the end of the day, and you know, what's gonna create this flush, I don't know, but just looking at this technically, I'd rather be short than long right now. At least this is the 200 period. We're starting to sort of slope down here. I feel like we could come back in and test this. That's 55.90, which isn't too far away from where we are right now. Unfortunately, the ranges are pretty tight here today, so it's not like I'm expecting a dollar move down, so we're gonna have to look at the charts, and that would be 55.90, so I do have a bid right now at 55.91. I just took some more out there at 96, so we do get that fill coming through, so that would be my first target, and then honestly, like, this is real choppy. To get into the low of the day right now would probably, I mean, there's only 20 minutes left until imbalances. We've been really stuck in a range here, so I'm happy if we get those 91s. So we'll sit there, cash out a little bit more, and then I do have a much bigger bid at 85. It's actually at 86. Maybe I'll have to up that. That is exactly the price. So I'm going to get something out at 90s and be pretty happy with the amount we get out there, and then looking to get out half of what we have left if we can hit the 200 period moving average, because like we did have, you know, it has the pedigree to do that. Up here we kind of got into the 200. Then here, I don't know, that's gapped over overnight. This is the 5-minute chart, right? And then right into there, we made it back again. So let's just see if we could drift a little bit lower. But there's that wick again, you know, so there it is, just on a minute chart, like just came in again. So we got to, you know, we got to take these fills, man. If we can get them. So I don't know. I just want to let you guys know that we're in this name. It'll be a decent name here. Just looking for it to flush. Don't know if it will. So we'll just start to piece this off with the biggest order waiting right here, right where VWAP is, as we just discussed. 55.85 is where we're sitting for that one. We do have a throw to Adara, so we'll go there now.
Keep an eye on Citigroup. As I mentioned, Lucetti, who is their CFO, is appearing at this, or incoming CFO, sorry, is appearing at this Goldman Sachs conference. Just saying here that the company expects their Q4 markets revenue to be down low to mid single digits on a year-over-year basis, but they said their operating efficiency ratio is looking better than expected, or better than 63.5. So some ratio or margin updates here, and some investing, banking, and markets revenue updates from C.
Hi guys, let's talk about the small cap update. So the Russell is up 0.9%. Let's talk about certain individual movers. Worthington Enterprises is up 0.87%, the leading gainer amid the broader industrial strength in small caps. Sorry about that. Actinium Pharmaceuticals, the biotech standout on the Russell, is up 0.5%, likely driven by the sector momentum in healthcare. Often spike on like pipeline news amid the high dispersion. Let's also talk about AFJK. It's a SPAC with an upcoming potential merger and has a super tiny float of about 4.7 million shares. That's all. Back to the guys.
Oh, that thing is a SPAC? That's got to be a guarantee. Oh, I shouldn't call it a guarantee.
Delicious.
But a SPAC doing that is insane. I mean, come on. That AFJ. No, I mean that AFJK.
Yes, yes.
No, like this chart, I mean. Like I thought this, I didn't think this was a SPAC. Like,
I think when people are bored, in the market, you know, wild things can happen.
If you had a hedge
fund. Wild thoughts.
This is one of those, if you have a hedge fund, you know what you're doing right now.
Right.
If you're a hedgie that can just, okay, I'm getting into this and I'm shorting this and I'm just going to do it until I'm right. There's so much money that gets made. The problem with that is, as a day trader, you can't do that as a day trader, because what will happen is you just wreck your account if you're not right away. Like, you need to win right. Like, you just can't hold it forever. That's insane if it's a SPAC. Anyways, like with only it's 3:30, I was going to go to the early look for the imbalances. There's a couple of things that might show up today, SoFi being one of them. But a trend line from VWAP here on Intel, as it's red, and it's been holding underneath VWAP for most of the day, but I have a trend line to get out. When it broke this local bottom here at the 40.15 mark, I was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll just take that trend out. Otherwise, the triple bottom from yesterday is going to be my out. Like early on, it was a chop fest early. I had one I don't like it stop out, and then just kind of waited for the highs. And then after it broke the tops, was just waiting for the volume weighted average price on this. It just continues to go down. AFJK, in case you're wondering, 95 is the current tap for anybody out there brave enough to trade it. A couple of early looks here. You've got NCLH, that's a buy of 2.4 million, BAC sell 2.6. Things that we might care about here.
I saw BMNRs on.
BMNRs there for 1.7, but like it's there every day, and it tends to not matter. BlackBerry, 1.9 million to the sell side. These are all New York, and then of course you'll have some on the Amex as well. However, at the close today, there are some expected moves. Just trying to find it here. You have SoFi is a Russell 1000 increase, expected 1.6 million to buy. You've got HNI, which is an S&P 600. Net flow buy of 5 million shares, that's HNI. And then there is a Russell 2000 deletion, SCS, 11 million shares. That one I don't know SCS, but I have no idea what that company is. Steelcase? You know Steelcase?
No, I don't know anything.
Don't know Steelcase. So Steelcase, that would be big. If this shows up as 10 million sell, it's only done 1 million shares, but I don't know the company. SoFi, that's not a ton of shares for SoFi, 1.6 million, and it's done 46 million shares. That being said, SoFi is getting hit today. So if it does show up a buy imbalance, maybe you could get a bit of a relief rally, but that's a small fraction of the volume it's doing today. Dara?
Keep an eye here in Eli Lilly. LLY making new low of day. This stock, as mentioned here by you guys and Brian, has been pretty weak. The company just now announcing they're going to be creating 3,450 manufacturing jobs as they apparently manufacture active pharmaceutical ingredients. So again, it's going to be happening at their Huntsville site. Eli Lilly announcing some new manufacturing jobs, and the market manufacturing, the more downside for Eli Lilly. Back to you.
And I didn't write it down there. I'm actually going to show how sort of frou-frou I am right here. I've set my schedule here for charging. So I want to make sure, not charging, for the heat on my car. So I set it to start at 4:15 right there to get that going.
Why not?
In the basement there.
Why wouldn't you want to get into a warm car?
I don't know, because it's in the garage. I don't know. So? I thought that it was maybe a little funny.
I'm not trying to be cold.
Funny to do that. Yeah, me neither. But the garage downstairs is okay. Just quickly here, let's go find out who's making the money here. I was trying it out because I wanted to see. It's plugged in down there, and when it heats up, it draws from the power source. So, anyways, whatever. I don't know if it's a heated garage, but it's definitely not super. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's underground as well. So, okay, here we go. Nasdaq and New York. So this is the top traders yesterday here at Real Trading. Okay, so these aren't like sort of numbers that have been altered or anything like that. These are the top traders, all in U.S. funds. As by the way, the futures. Let's go. Starting to go to the downside. We still watch out here for the TQs right over there. I think we just got a 91 fill, so that was pretty good. Oh, no, we didn't. We missed the 91. But anyways, New York and Nasdaq. So these are the markets that the traders would have traded yesterday to get to those levels. So pretty good trading there yesterday, New York and Nasdaq. This is what I wanted to sort of highlight, everybody. And I just call this up. I didn't look at it. This is the first time I looked at this too. So Canada, Copenhagen, and again, here at Real Trading, we have over 60 live markets. So it just goes to show you that like this trader right here, putting in the hours right now, trading all over Europe, there, New York as well, Canada, Switzerland. Switzerland's going down. They are in our group for the World Cup. So bye-bye Switzerland and Qatar. You guys aren't winning against Team Canada, are you? The only team that will beat us will be Italy. They're here in Toronto as well, by the way. Amex, those tickets are going for like 50 to 60 grand. Right now,
that's crazy.
The very first game here in Toronto.
When are you going?
No, I'm not going. I didn't get tickets to that. I wish I did. Some of our other friends, I think, got them.
Okay.
I don't know. But other than that, man, it's kind of the same thing yesterday. Nasdaq, I would probably, if they were selling it paid that much, I would sell those tickets probably. Amex, Nasdaq, New York, Amex, Canada. So not super exciting there. It's just. So it's sort of, sorry, I didn't mean to show it so lame, but this one is what caught my eye early, and then everybody else, Nasdaq, Amex. And, there's something to be said about, just trading within the zone. And if you have found something that works for you, you don't need to look at all those other markets, but there's some good, not only arbitrage plays with other markets, there's different closes that happen, right? Europe, I think, closes at 11:30 our time, so there's a strategy associated with that as well. And all those things sort of together there. I did see that Eli Lilly story, and I just to look at it, there's only now 15 minutes left. Yeah, nothing going on. They're just opening up a new manufacturing facility. So yeah, I don't know. It's in the U.S., right? So that should give them some tax breaks, maybe. As of course Donald Trump has mentioned numerous times. If you produce here in the United States, then the tariffs will not apply, obviously, because you are in the United States. So that's something interesting there. Again, more outs on the Qs as we drop down. We're getting lighter and lighter right now into that. And then, yeah, BMNR for me is a big sell right there. So this is something to look at, as it's now 2 million shares, which isn't that huge because it's done 45 million, but it's a lot. There's gonna have to be a 2 million or so share print. That's 2 million left. It's already paired off 3.5. So you're looking at about 6 million shares or so in total here on BMNR. So that should be exciting and interesting to see what winds up happening with this stock into the close right now. BMNR, the most interesting one for me. And then
that's all I'm watching.
Yeah, the other ETF, like FXI, really won't move that much. There's probably 2 million shares right here. Like if you put a 2 million share sell into this, with all of that added up, that's 130,000 there. That's 200,000 if you add that up, 300,000 or so, plus all the dark pools. I mean, look at all the trades that are happening here. All these Ds are all dark pools. So you're not even seeing, like look at that shave right there. 38,799,999. So that's someone running in front of your posted order. So if you're sitting at home there in retail and you're offering, most retailers will use one of these gateways. Well, someone just got like a fill instead of you, you know, and there's some more 99999s coming through again. So it's just like everyone just shaving a little bit just to get in front. And then when something changes, they build it back up, so on and so forth. So if it frustrates you, you're not alone. I mean, this is what happens with all these prints. And we talked about Citadel and all that.
We had a phrase for that I won't. Let's just say it was an expletive shaver.
Yeah.
Used to get said all the time on the trading floor. And then when I started out, I'll never forget this too. Like, if you were known to be like, sometimes there's a stock. It was happening when you trade penny stocks a lot, where like you'd know like X trader is the heaviest on this particular penny stock because it would happen on these stocks that didn't do a ton of volume. And so if that's a stock that you're on, like people would know based on like the gateway that our broker was on.
What you're doing. Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I was on a penny stock that I did the most volume on, if I was sitting there and someone on the floor shaved your order, like, you were gonna get relentless. Like, you know, you just blank shaved my order. It's not fun when it happens.
That's when it was rebates, right?
That was back when it was rebates. It was a much different story. But I wanted to give two updates before we go to Adara. One, AFJK, I'm not making this up. The tap is $100. It just continues to go higher. It's at 95 with a tap of $100. This thing is going absolutely crazy. Good luck and congratulations if you have it. I got out of Intel because it broke the trend line. I don't know if I see anything outside of that potential close trade on BMNR, but let's go to Adara to see what's up.
Pop up here for some of these satellite-related plays. Here's SATS. They're reacting the best to this. GSAT moving a bit as well, but I would say SATS probably the biggest reaction. Bloomberg reporting that SpaceX is considering a 2026 IPO at raising far above $30 billion. So apparently they're looking to pursue this IPO at a $1.5 trillion valuation. Again, just a report from Bloomberg. And it's also worth noting Elon Musk usually denies reports like this, but either way, the market is moving. I'll mention it. The other stock moving on this is DXYZ, Destiny Tech 100. They are an ETF, and one of the things that they hold is SpaceX. They actually hold private companies, including OpenAI as well. So DXYZ is moving, GSAT, and probably the best by far, SATS. Back to you.
That'd be interesting. Their 1.5 trillion valuation for an IPO. Yikes!
By the way, that Destiny ETF, I'm asking Gemini right now.
Yeah.
But from the last time I looked at this, the actual fair value was way underneath where this thing trades. If you look at the actual like private companies that they hold, and then do the last funding raise, whatever those actual valuations are, it's a bunch of math. Obviously anybody could do it, but you don't want to take the time to do it. What did this say? The fair value. I asked Gemini here, so if it's wrong, this is Gemini. But Gemini says as of September 30th. The fair value, $11.37. That was as of September, where's September 30th? So somewhere in here. So when it was $22, the fair value was 11. So be careful. Everyone likes a lot of people want to own SpaceX, and then one of the big holdings, of course, in DXYZ is going to be SpaceX. Or you know, you want to be involved in these types of things, but understand that the funds that hold them aren't necessarily, like you're essentially paying a premium to be in this. It's just another way that so many people want to try to level the playing field in terms of pre-IPO investing. This is one of the reasons, because the only way to get in is things like Destiny here, which you're not getting a fair value. You're paying 2x based on the companies it's holding. Like that's crazy, because a lot of these, by the time they come to market, that can end up being a high. So I think just be careful with that. That'll be a heck of an IPO. Be able to
that would be.
Let's be real. That's one of those every single trader every trader is going to trade it. Whether or not you want to own it at whatever price it comes out at is questionable. Oh, wow, that didn't take long. In the time I just said that, AFJK opened up and halted down. So it got to $99 and is now halted down. The inevitable might be happening. The current tap now 70, so it's indicating a 70 open. Wow, that was pretty fast. Pretty crazy there. Darwin the Trader. What's Trader TV Live's IPO valuation? Are we going to go for 1.5 trillion? Probably not.
I don't think
Even if for the people, everybody.
I don't think it'll be that high right there. But just looking to see if Tesla was doing anything.
We'll have more longevity than AFJK, I bet you that.
Yeah, most likely. Tesla is already pulling back. We said that there could be a VWAP play there coming in for Tesla with only 7 minutes left now. There it is, right there. Nice little move to the downside again right there. All right, more news coming with Adara.
Actually not news, but I mean, we have GameStop earnings after the bell and a whole bunch of other ones. I just realized I have to update this visual because these two are in the middle of reporting at 4:05, the last one at 4:10 p.m. But either way, here's the expected moves because these are up to date for these companies. Would you believe GME is the smallest expected move here? GME only about a 10% expected move. Dave & Buster's about 20%, and Cracker Barrel and AVAV AeroVironment both put a 12% expected move. Check out this infographic once I update the times on X at TTV Research as we send you back to Sean and Neil.
This is,
You know why I will believe that? Because GameStop is, look, I don't know what their short float is anymore, but it ain't what it used to be. You know what Dave & Buster's short float is? 68%.
no, what?
So here, like that's so
What does the
don't
chart look like?
yeah, like don't talk to me about GME, Army, and AMC and all that stuff. I get it. That time is over. Like in the time that everyone wanted GME to go again, Carvana's been it for like the longest time. So what were you looking at? The whole time it was Carvana, but Dave & Buster's. You know what? The chart's not as. Look, I didn't expect it to be a good chart with a big short float. It's not as bad as it gets bad. It's not as bad as I would have thought, but it's pretty bad. It gets pretty awful. Like that's how you get a big, gigantic short float because it's been so good for everybody. That said, we haven't had the breakout, the crazy breakouts and follow-throughs like we were getting a little bit earlier in the earnings cycle. But it's been consolidating, so it's accumulating at this level. Right? Like let's be real. I just hope it goes because if it's above 19, then it's a trade tomorrow. If it does absolutely nothing, then you got to stay away from it, right? Because if it doesn't press higher than what the shorts aren't even that scared till it breaks 22, but at least they have a reason to think about it if it breaks 19 bucks. So I think this is the one to watch. No offense to GameStop, like I'd be more excited if this makes a move than GME. Easy.
Yeah, it's just so expensive to go out these days, right? Let alone with kids and all that kind of stuff. Like every time we're out, man, dinner is like, $150, and let alone going out to a Dave & Buster's and trying to, pay for those games. And so many people gaming at home. I like it. I think it's fun to go to, but I could definitely see why people are holding on to the short. This is what CBRRL looks like. This is Crackle Barrel. This is also like, that's $72 just back in July. Now, obviously, all the way down, I have to move button there, down to $26 right now, and at its 52-week low with a 21% short float. So there it goes, man. Huge downside pressure for Crackle Barrel. And we actually looked at this one from a monthly chart. I think this goes back all the way to, was it 2010 or 2000? Yeah, right to these kind of levels. I mean, that's still lower. That's $18, $19, but we're back here in the 2010 area right now. And then that low, we could get even lower if it's a complete disaster tonight. I don't know how much this is going to lose, but I'd hate to say but $18, $19 looks like somewhere where we could dance
not even that far
there. It's just still a big move down there for Crackle Barrel.
Yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not.
And here's what GME. No, it's not. No, it's not that bad. I mean, you could get that move easily. You could be down 20 or 30% tomorrow. GameStop, wow, what a ride, right? I mean, it's reverse split. This isn't taking into consideration. I mean, you might say like, well, what the? I thought GameStop was $500. It did. I think its high was into the 500s there during the craziness, but we've since split 5 to 1. So that's now happened back in. And this is what GameStop looks like. It actually looks like a pretty decent stock on a monthly chart right here. Just, a lot of accumulation. So, great hold at $20. Really just waiting to break out. Like, not going to happen. I mean, never say never to anything, but it doesn't look like it'll happen here. And that is this kind of a move higher, breaking through 35. But if we ever do that, then I think you could start to get excited again for GameStop. But I don't want to say that ship has sailed, but I think that ship has sailed right now. I mean, let alone a stock like AMC. We called it up on the other chart because, again, ours doesn't show you very good news on the split front. There it is right here. So if you're looking at AMC, and if we go over here to the monthly, see what that looks like as opposed to GameStop, you've seen how much better. Oh, no, maybe it was AMC that got it to 500. Oh, the AMC looks like this hasn't even split. Okay, this got to $719 is what this is showing, unless that was a reverse split. AMC never got that high. So AMC must have, oh yeah, here it is, split 1 to 10. Yeah, right there they did. So 1 to 10 right there, which is why that stock is all the way up. So I think we're right about GameStop, but just looking at the difference, right, what a difference a couple stocks make. GameStop, much, much different than AMC. AMC can't get out of its way, and I know Michael Noss has been talking about the dilution of this stock over and over and over again. Much different game plan here for the theater name rather than GameStop. So if you thought that there was maybe a battle back in one of them, you've been right on GameStop. I think it's been a reasonable buy down there, and I don't know what roaring whatever Kitty is up to these days, Keith Gill, but probably promoting the stock as well. So
I had heard some rumor that he was pumping something else.
Yeah, maybe.
Recently. I don't know. Everybody in the chat, I think it was potentially yesterday, and if it wasn't yesterday, it was late last week. At least a couple of people were talking about Roaring Kitty being involved or talking up something else that was not GameStop. I don't know if that's true. I just remember someone saying. Very quickly, we have 1 minute till the imbalances come out. What a weird thing that's happening, and if you knew this was going to happen, you would buy. I don't know why, but. Second Intel broke trend. There's been a bit of a buy program, so we'll see if there's an imbalance on this one. Suspect there might be in about 1 minute or so. And then AFJK opened up and it is not still falling. It just bounced to about $80. So that one caught a bid in front of $70. Remember, if AFJK or any symbol halts in the last 10 minutes, it opens up. It doesn't matter about the 5 minutes. Any halt at the end of the day opens at 4 o'clock. So it's not a 5-minute halt if it halts in the upcoming minutes. So 30 seconds to go till we get the imbalances. And we will look over, if you throw symbols, then we'll look at them for sure. So if someone asking about NVIDIA in the chat, trust me, NVIDIA is one of the few names that almost always has an imbalance. We'll take a look at that going into the close. Not much crazy action here. Let's be real. Not a lot of volatility. Not 24 hours, but less than 24 hours from the Fed rate decision, which we're expecting a cut. But it's not a lock according to. If you look at the Fed tool, it's not an absolute lock. I think that could provide some volatility tomorrow, as the imbalances are now in. So, well, NVIDIA, that's not that big. 1.5 million to buy. Intel, that is a bid, but 1.6 million is not very big either on Intel. So I'd call that a bit of a nothing burger. Unfortunately, I don't see BMNR in there. SOXS is a sell of 1.3. So nothing too crazy. And to show you the effect on NVIDIA, it's actually moving. But that move is 25 cents. So NVIDIA, 25, 30 penny bounce there and a 1.6 million imbalance to the upside for that. And AFJK, I say it and it halts. Back halted to the upside. Stock doesn't even stay open for more than 2 or 3 minutes. 86, this will open now at 4 o'clock. So forget about that 5-minute halt if you happen to be in it. 975% for this SPAC. I can't even say that without laughing.
No, that's ridiculous. I mean, only to have known that one, we talk about if you had that magic time machine, you maybe go back and buy some AFJK today. Just before $56, we got out 56.03 just before the imbalance there on the futures. I did put a stop at 15. That didn't fill yet, so if that happens, we'll get out, and then we'll wait for a little bit lower. But this is why you never really want to be sitting around waiting for these imbalances to hit, especially if you're in the futures or anything like that. Really glad to hear that my good friend Brian is now finally, I mean, come on, Brian, man, I've been telling you this for a while. Their Big Bear AI, he is now into that one, and wish we would have had a little bit more time, would have asked him. Well, he dropped it right at the end. Yeah, I don't know why he's in it, but obviously he always talked about an ascending 5-day moving average, so that's probably now confirmed it for him. So I'm glad to have a bright mind like Brian Shannon into our baby stock there, BBAI. So we want to say shout out to everybody that's in that one with me there as well. It's been good, man. We made a lot of money on Palantir. We made a lot of money on Big Bear AI. So let's see if we can do that again right now. iRobot with a little bit of a sell, so that's going to the downside. Marvell's another stock that we've done real well on, but that's been getting hit recently there as that news about losing their chip. Some sort of a business to some company we've never heard of. I think that battle's back there at some point. Obviously, I'm long the name. I'm long all these names, by the way. Sorry, I meant to click on NVIDIA. Right there it is right there to see what NVIDIA is doing. So a little bit of a bump up here on NVDA. Now remember, 355 is when you get a major market move. because a lot of these will switch over, they'll start to get paired off. So there's some big order types going through at that time. Look at all these wicks right there. Down, that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll make my charts look like that all the time. But BMNR was a sell imbalance, flipped over to a buy right there on open, and you can see the reaction of the market to that. I'm going to put a bid here. That's what I'm getting ready to do on, oops, that's the TQ. So we just got 06s there as we get that filled. A lot of volume going through. You just put a bid, you'll probably get filled like I just did there. Now it goes through 05. But just, exiting out here on this name. Would like it to go down a little bit more. We're still waiting here at 56 for a fill, and we'll see if we get that, and then lower into the 90s and so on and so forth. Maybe if that flip does come, we'll get a much bigger fill on that trade. So yeah, man, there it is. Good day today for sure. I don't know if you can get that super chat out. It's there for you.
Yeah, I can.
Here, I can find it quickly unless, here it is.
Oh, there it
got
is.
it.
Okay, thank you. SP Williams, shout out to you. Thank you very much. Shout out to Neil for the talk he did on if you don't have a strategy, the trade doesn't.
Right.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, the trade still counts. Every single trade you make counts, unfortunately. You learned a costly lesson yesterday. I was just really glad that Brian enforced that. And that's one of the things that, regardless of what your style of trade, it could be swing trading, it could be day trading, you could be investing. Like, just as long as you have a plan for what you're doing, that's what really matters. But if you don't, then there's nothing wrong with not trading it. Like, you can look at AFJK, and I can tell you the reason why almost nobody would trade this. I would say almost nobody. We had one trader on the floor back in the day who, for a full year, actually for just over a year, was making consistent money specifically on these small cap halting stocks. He would trade the ones that would halt a lot. He was really good at it for about a year and a half during, I guess, the meme craze. But it's very difficult to formulate a plan of action on an AFJK. So, and because when you want to get out, you don't really know where you're going to end up getting out, which is difficult for a day trader. If you can't predict where your slippage is going to be, it's hard to manage risk. So I think that's an important thing, and thank you for the super chat. But you know what? Speaking of risk, for a long time, trading meant risking your own money or simply not having enough to start. The fear of losing kept many traders on the sidelines. It's changing now, though. Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets. With the limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital, and Trade the Pool absorbs the downside. So you can focus on what matters, just like we're talking about: discipline, consistency, and growth. And when you hit the profit target, you get 70% of those profits. No fear of barriers, just an opportunity. This is the revolution of limited risk trading, and it's powered by Trade the Pool. Visit tradethepool.com, or you can scan the QR code you see right in front of you on screen for more information. And we're going to go right to the desk. We've got Sia.
Thank you, guys. Let's do a really quick sector watch. So overall, the market is flat today, but two things off note. Let's go into finance. JPM is trading 4.39% lower after the CEO of consumer banking appeared at a Goldman Sachs conference and said that the consumer could be a bit fragile going into 2026. And moving on to Tesla is up 1.41% after announcing its intention of offering year-end incentives for the Model Y in an effort to increase their sales. And honestly, nothing much, just like super flat trading today. Just back to the desk. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Sia, for that one. I was actually going to say, yeah, Sia, great job there, by the way. I always telling her, slow down. You don't need to rush too much. And I know Neil and I make it look just so easy, right, Neil? Of course, with all the training that we've received here on the desk. But great job there, Sia.
My years of schooling.
Yeah, again, on all of that, of course. But yeah, we just did cover some more there on the futures as it came right back in. So we do take an out there on the TQQs. And just to your talk about strategies, this is the very first time that I've only traded one name the whole show. I have one trade today. That's the TQQs there today. So that's the only thing that I've been doing all day is the TQQs. So one symbol for me, I think 7 or 8 over there for Neil. And it's about finding your opportunity. Okay, here we go. You got a mic over there, Joe, or? No. Okay. He just wanted to hit that there as well. And it just goes to show you, right? If things don't line up and your strategies don't hit, you don't need to take anything. So I think that's a very good point. And so just wanted to make that.
But I want to say something, because I'll tell you right now, anyone ever heard of... Oh, shoot. Okay, fine. Throw that back up there. There's only 3 minutes left. That was Ian, right?
What's up,
Ian Rispetto.
What's up? dog.
You can't make that reference interrupt everything that I'm saying. What do the 5 fingers say to the face? Bam, we even have a key for that one.
Yeah, we do.
Shout out to you. Everyone knows I love Chappelle's Show. That's one of the best sketches. But there's something called the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. Regardless of your trading style, I think, look, if you trade one stock a day, it's like 80% of your profits in a month probably happen on 20% of the days. If I trade 10 stocks, 80% of your profits all happen in one. Like right now, the only stock that mattered for me today to be green was Intel. I might have traded a bunch of other stuff, but ultimately it was only Intel. And here's my take on Intel. There isn't a story and there wasn't a big imbalance, but I have a sneaky suspicion there's going to be something overnight is going to happen or be said on Intel to explain why this stock it basically went down. It took the entire day to make that move to the downside and then spent 20 minutes going right back into the morning highs. There's gonna be something that comes out on Intel. You don't usually do that on nothing. So it happened right at $40. It happens right on support on the daily chart. I just would not be surprised if we have some kind of a headline in the back of my mind there for Intel. So 1 minute to go. Look, there weren't any big imbalances. I'm just double checking. I want to make sure SoFi doesn't show up there out of nowhere. It didn't. So SoFi was supposed to be a small buy. It didn't really affect anything. Hey, Beyond Meat's a 1 million buy. Now, if it can just do that about 1,000 more times, then the stock can do something. So 1 minute to the close. We got less than 60 seconds, everybody. But we have less than 24 hours, more importantly, until our Fed rate decision, which we are still expecting. Everybody is going to be a rate cut. Not a lock, but it's pretty darn close to it. It's like Fahad shooting foul shots.
Excited to see, he's 95% or something. Excited to see right now the GameStop earnings, so watch out for that. Here's GME right now. So whoa, right there, nice little move down for GameStop. It's not like it's it looks pretty huge, but it's just 30 cents anyways. GameStop from top to bottom right there. Potentially, I didn't even see, was there an imbalance or something? There might have been on GameStop. We might have missed it, but there it is right there. Nice little drop down for GameStop with only 7 seconds left. Again, great job today by Sia. This closing bell is brought to you by 3D Capital. Go check those guys out. 3D Capital, IDKFF over there on the OTC markets. Nasdaq down today 0.13. There, the ES down 0.11. So really no coverage there today to really talk too much about. You were safe in the Nasdaq and maybe not so much in the ES. It's more about JP Morgan. We and Neil just talking about that. That was the move down that sort of created a little bit of uncertainty. I mean, you see the XLF downside as well. We saw Citigroup, Adair talked a little bit about that. So that started to get hit. But XLF, see, that's why sometimes you don't want to be in single stock risk. XLF only down 0.3. Oh, Citigroup actually made it back there since 3 o'clock. So we did dip down into 107. Citigroup was really hitting it as well to the downside and then taking the Oppo move there for JP Morgan. So I'm pretty much all invested in JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. So those have been, Goldman just continues to work. Wow. That stock to the top side. So, yeah, look, AFJK should be a really, really good stock.
This is why you got to be careful aftermarket.
Yeah.
Because without the halts, it ain't better. This went from $110 to $70 in 1 minute. 1 minute. It broke $110 all the way to $70. This is why the halt bands can sometimes save people some money. Just be careful if you're trading this. GameStop hasn't come out yet. At least not to my knowledge. It's certainly not moving like it is, but GameStop are the only earnings. One of the earnings names we're paying attention to, and of course, Dave & Buster's will be another one. That's already moving to the upside, although I don't believe their earnings are out yet.
Yeah, apparently GameStop earnings are out right now, I think 31 cents or so, but not really doing too much here for GameStop, not too much volume going on here as well. So, good day, man. Tomorrow's going to be even a better day, I promise you that. The market will, every day is going to be a better day, I think. Tomorrow will be more action for sure. Join us at 2 o'clock for the news on the Fed, but join us at 8. There's GameStop. Oh, no. Okay, well, there it is. GameStop discloses third quarter results. Now out, down to 21.50. Sales of $821 million. right now. They missed their estimate, 987. So short on sales there for GameStop, and short was the right way to go for now on GME. Remember last time they dropped their 24 cents versus 20. So it's a beat on the EPS, but a loss on the sales numbers. So remember, last time they dropped a warrant. We'll see what winds up happening there with GameStop right now. So bye-bye to the downside. Bitcoin holdings valued at 519.4 million right now. 519 million in Bitcoin valuation holding on that balance sheet. All right, we are now overtime, which means we got to go because
Rabine's letting us know.
2 minutes of overtime. Yeah, she wants to get paid for that.
Yeah, apparently.
So, right there. If I have to put back, like for me, I probably have to give back money
Overtime.
if I work too late here, because to suffer through this for all our viewers. But thank you so much. Look, we'll be back here tomorrow. It's 24 cents versus 20 on GameStop, so it looks like a beat. All right, good day. Have a great night. Get home safely. It's snowing over here in Toronto. I hope you guys are good where you are. Brendo, thank you. Sia, Adara, Ramin, get out of here before we have to pay our extra. Shout out to Fabian and Andre and Joe for sticking back with us as well. Great question there for Mr. Brian Shannon. And of course, our guest of the day, Brian Shannon.
And Mitch this morning as well.
And Mitch this morning, yeah. Thank you so much to Brian and Mitch for coming through.
Just went off the
Mitch showing off the LA, Miami Heat right there, proud of his team, I guess there. Yeah, Raptors are much better, of course. We will see everybody tomorrow. That's Neil, I'm Sean. Ciao for now.